Hey everyone, so today in this video we're going to be talking about section 1.1, functions, day 1. I'm not going to do any examples, all of this should be pretty familiar, but we will do examples in class. Today we're just going to go over definitions. The first thing we're going to talk about is function. Hopefully you remember the definition of a function. Hopefully you remember the word. You did learn in Algebra 1 and definitely Algebra 2 as well. A function is a relation or equation. And a relation, you should hopefully be thinking relationship. So relation is an equation because there's a relationship between the x and the y, right? In order for the y value to occur, you have to know your x value. So a function is a relation, but it's more specifically where every input has one output. And the one is important. It's only one. Another way of saying this, every x has only one y. And then remember, only one is important. So, if we want to know if something is a function, the one way to do it is algebraically. And this is where you guys might be a little bit rusty, but that's okay. So if I want to know if an equation is a function, algebraically, I want to solve for y. So I'm going to move everything around, solve for y, and then I'm going to look at my equation, and you guys should recognize your algebraic or your functions. So by solving for y, you should be able to look and go, oh, that's a quadratic, that is a function. Oh, that's a square root function, exponential function, etc. Okay, and then there's always graphically. So for graphically, there's the vertical line test. So that's where you draw a vertical line, and is the vertical line only going through one value? If it is, then it's a function. If it's going through multiple things, then it's not a function. So we want you guys to start getting more strong with algebraically figuring out and just looking at an equation and knowing. And you might be a little rusty, but a great way to do it is to try to understand equations, and then you can always graph it and see if you were correct. Okay, moving on, let's talk about function notation real quick. So function notation is just a way to write our functions. So it defines, function notation defines the relationship between the independent and dependent variable. It gives our function a name, and that's nice because if we have more than one functions, if we have like a system of equations going on, then we can easily refer to one function and the other. So it looks like the sun is highlighting function notation. Okay, gives the function a name. And then make sure you read it correctly. So this would be read f of x. So this is the name of the function. It would be function f, and then x is the input. Okay, we just have one last thing to talk about today, and that's going to be interval notation and types of brackets. So for interval notation in this class, we are going to use brackets. There's going to be two different kinds of brackets that we're going to be working with. Well, I guess potentially three, but predominantly two. Here, let me fix my window real quick. All right. Okay, so brackets. They're going to be, I guess I'll go over all three just in case. So we're going to be using interval notation, and there are three kinds of brackets. The first one is hard bracket. And again, all of this should be a review. So hard bracket is used when a value is included. So hard bracket looks like this. It's like you're starting to make a square. Okay, so when it's included, we use a hard bracket. Up next is soft brackets. And that's going to be used when a value is not included. And these look just like parentheses. So soft brackets are round. Now, hard brackets and soft brackets, these are going to be used for continuous functions where we're doing domain and range. The last bracket that I want to talk about is a curly bracket. Please be careful when you're making your curly brackets. If it's on a test or a quiz and it looks like just like a little scribble, you will not get full credit, so you might need to practice. So curly brackets are used when a graph is not continuous and you need to list values. So listing is important. And it looks like this. Try to move my hand so you can see it. Struggled that time, overthought it. So just be careful, it's not looking like, I don't know, I've had students just like go like this real quick, like what is that? I don't know what's even happening right there. A way some students like to do it, and this is acceptable, is they'll do like a little hump, a caret, and another little hump. That's fine. Just make sure it's clearly a curly bracket. And that's it for today.